Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85. I'm back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. And today we're going to go ahead and actually take a look at a figure that I picked up not too long ago, a couple months back here at a convention, a horror convention that I went to in Orlando. So that figure is actually the Playmates Gorosaurus. So this is a new-ish figure. It was released, several months back by Playmates, of course, part of their newer wave that came out. I know Jet Jaguar was also part of that wave, and Burning Godzilla, and Rodan 1956. So Gorosaurus here, though, this is the 1968 incarnation of Gorosaurus. So from the from his Destroy All Monsters appearance. And the other thing with this, too, is I know initially I did tell Dragonzilla that I was not going to pick this guy up or the movie Monster, or the Bandai movie Monster series Gorosaurus. But the thing was, after seeing some reviews, especially on the Playmates version, really caught my interest. And then, like I said, when I was at that horror convention in Orlando a couple months ago, I just happened to find it there. One of the vendors had it, and it was a little steep of a price, but I was able to work a deal out with the guy and, bargain with him. So I ended up going ahead and pulling the trigger and picked this guy up. Like I said, from the reviews that I saw, really did pique my interest, though, because I think Playmates did a really great job with Gorosaurus here. From all the Playmates Godzilla figures that I've seen, this one I would say is my favorite one that they've done. So with that, we're going to jump into it, though. A couple things, though, real quick, I did want to mention first. I did mean to mention this in my last video and just forgot, so I do apologize, folks. But I do want to thank you guys so much for the 200 plus subscribers. I was up to, last time I checked, I was up to about 216, I think. So that was as of last I checked. But again, though, that really does mean a lot to me, guys. Thank you so much. I don't make money off of my videos. You'll notice there's no ads or anything that play with mine. My videos are just as is. I do this. This is a hobby I do for fun. I'm really into my figure collecting, especially my Godzilla and Kaiju figures. And, I like to do these videos. Like I said, it's a hobby, and it's also a way, that I try to critique these figures and give you guys some insight on what they're all about, and help you to decide if you want to pick these guys up for yourself. But again, though, it means a lot to me for you guys to subscribe. Like I said, this is a hobby of mine, and plus, too, it's a way for me to connect to fellow fans who are into the same things that I am. So, thank you guys, though. And the other thing I was going to mention, too, before I jump into this guy, I know not too long ago, King Goji, in his one of his latest video that he made, reviewing his SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1989, and I know he mentioned that he was waiting to hear my take on it. So King Goji, if you do see this video, I did get the figure in actually a few months ago. I believe in October is when he finally arrived. So he's sitting proudly on my shelf right now. I just haven't gotten around to doing the review on him yet. As you notice, I've really only touched on one of my items from SH Monster Arts so far. It's just because I'm kind of holding off. They're going to be more in-depth reviews. But because you did ask, I am going to go ahead soon and get to that review. There's just going to be a couple things I want to knock out first, and then I'll go ahead and get to the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1989 figure. It's definitely a figure I really love, so I'm looking forward to that review. And I think that that'll also kind of help me jumpstart into doing more of my Monster Arts figures as well. So I am going to kind of use that as a segue, and this way I can kind of mix and match things, with my different figure brands that I have, like Bandai, and of course, the Tamashii Nations, SH Monster Arts. I still have some Revoltech figures after review. NECA, etc., etc. So, but anyways, though, let's go ahead and get back into this, though. Let's start with the paint and the detail on Gorosaurus here. So I'm kind of holding the camera with one hand. I'm going to kind of show you the paint and detail with my other hand. So you'll notice Gorosaurus' paint scheme here, it's like a bluish gray color. So I believe his Destroy All Monsters design was supposed to be a little more of a green color, whereas, like I said, this is almost like a bluish gray, as you guys can see throughout. But I still think it looks pretty good nonetheless. I really don't have any beef with it, honestly. I love the design of the eyes there. I think they're captured very well. The white eyes and black pupils and the little white like dots, irises, as you guys can see there. Plus you've got all the scaling on Gorosaurus all around him as well, which looks really good. You can really see it on the face. Captured very well. Doing the best I can here with my camera. You can see the way that they did that sort of groove eyebrow above his head. Very pronounced, which is very indicative of Gorosaurus' design. You can see it on both sides of his face there. Really, really looks good. You've got the nostrils sculpted in there as well, which looks good. And then, of course, here you've got the mouth. Now you've got the teeth, which are pretty much an off-white bone color. Couple of them are kind of individually sculpted, as you can see. And then they're kind of sculpted on and then molded into the mouth there, I guess is kind of a way to put it, as you guys can see there. And then you got sort of that peachish or pinkish look for the gums and the inside of the mouth. Let's see if we can get the inside there with the tongue. Yeah, like a pinkish reddish color for the inside of the mouth and the tongue there, as you guys can see. It looks pretty good, though. I think they did a decent job detailing that. Definitely like it. And then, of course, you got the underside of his jaw, which run with this tannish color, and that runs all the way down his neck and his abdomen, all the way down his tail here, which is a bit of an interesting choice because I don't really know how accurate that is, that tannish color that they've got. But it does offer a nice contrast from the blue-gray, so I do appreciate it for what it is there. Looks really, really cool. You've got all the wrinkles, folds and wrinkles along his neck and running down on his abdomen area, which is really like a suit-accurate kind of thing, and I think that's cool. I always do appreciate that, and I know a lot of other reviewers have mentioned that as well. Whenever these figures do that, I think it looks really, really cool. It just adds to his character, I think. You can definitely feel nice texturing, all the scaliness done along the body there. You've got the arms there, indicative of Gorosaurus. Again, some more wrinkles there and scales. And you got the claws, which are not terribly sharp to the touch, but they're sculpted well enough that they look like they're sharp, though. You know, they don't feel too sharp, but they at least look the part. If that makes sense. There, you got the 3 claws on each hand, indicative of Gorosaurus, and then you got that sort of like a tannish color as well, but like a tannish bone color, I would say. So a little bit different than the tan color that runs along his body here. So still think it's pretty cool, though. And then you got the same Danish color for the Danish bone color, I should say, for the claws on the feet and those hoof claws there, talons, whatever you want to call them, on the back of the foot. Again, looks pretty good. Nicely captured detail. You've got the logoing here on the bottom of the feet there, and right there you can see the Toho company and 2020 Playmates. So pretty cool, though, nonetheless. And then all the scaliness, the segments along the tail as well, looks really, really cool. You've got the spikes that Gorosaurus has running along his back and all the way down his tail. Done in the same color scheme as that bluish gray color, so they didn't really contradict it there, but it still looks pretty good nonetheless. And they also did make sure to include at the tip of the tail, where you see all the segments and scales running along his tail, and then at the tip you got that sort of that claw or that needle point that Gorosaurus has, which is really, really cool. And I like that they did include it as well. So again, it's kind of the tannish color on the bottom and then the blue-gray on the top. But it's a nice little attention to detail that they did add it. And then the other thing that I will say about him is the stance that they give for Gorosaurus here. Again, you can take a look at the legs here, again, with the wrinkles and scales. And really, really nice and bumpy. Really, really did a good job with this figure, I think. And the other thing, like I said, that other people have pointed out with him is you see he's got this very, very, unique kind of stance here. The tail's going in this sort of curved direction, almost like an S-shaped curve, and then the legs almost like he's in like a battle-ready kind of pose here, if you will, with the claws like that. And just the way he's kind of hunched forward, which is definitely something that's indicative of Gorosaurus. But it's just the way that they kind of did the mold here. It looks, it's a really, really unique, really cool look. Like I said, it looks like he's almost like in a battle-ready pose. Maybe he's ready to assist Godzilla in taking on King Ghidorah, like that awesome. My favorite fight scene of all the Godzilla films, the one on Mount Fuji and Destroy All Monsters. Since, again, that's what this version of Gorosaurus is supposed to be depicting. So, very, very awesome, though. I really like it. Again, another look around him here. Really, really cool there, folks. So, with that, next up, let's go ahead and jump into the articulation with this guy. Let me see if we can just try to capture this on camera. So we'll start here with the head. As you can see, the head does rotate. And you can go all the way around. It actually rotates pretty easily. So pretty cool at the base of the neck there. You've got the arms now, which do also rotate. And they can actually go all the way around as well. It's just that you gotta watch, as you can kind of see there, when you do rotate it, it does have a tendency to rub up, at least slightly, against the body. So, like I said, just got to try to be mindful of that, though, when you do it. Let me try to see if I can hold it and do it like that. But yeah, so you can kind of see it. That it will rub up against the legs a little bit when you rotate it. So just try to be mindful of that. Next up, you've got the legs, which can also rotate. And these are a little bit stiffer. Again, they will kind of rub up against the arms. But they can go all the way around as well. Here's this leg. See, it is kind of stiff, but you can rotate that leg full 360, like I said. And then last part of articulation here is Gorosaurus's tail, which that can spin pretty freely, and you can definitely get it to go 360. So we'll spin all the way around there. Tail. So the arms, the tail, the arms, and the head all move fairly easily. The legs are a little stiff. So that's just kind of that's just some kind of things to note with the articulation. So I mean, and, again, it's a vinyl figure for all intents and purposes. So the articulation's basic, but I mean, you get a pretty decent amount for what it is, though, here. So really, really awesome. Next, we've got sizing. So this particular Gorosaurus figure is supposed to be in the 6-inch range. I would say more is like probably like in the 5.5-inch range though. So it might be a little bit smaller than some of your other kaiju figures, but you know, that's okay because Gorosaurus is actually supposed to be a little shorter than like Godzilla and whatnot. But for the size comparison here and just a good comparison in general, I actually went ahead and grabbed my YMSF Gorosaurus so you guys can see. I'll go ahead and take a look, see? So yeah, YMSF Gorosaurus, that's the reason I wasn't really gonna bother with either the Playmates or the Bandai Movie Monster series, because I have the YMSF and I love this figure. But like I said, just from everything I've seen, I just decided to pull the trigger and get the Playmates Gorosaurus. You know, it doesn't hurt to have 2 Gorosauruses in your collection. Plus, the one thing with the YMSF, as much as I love this figure, and you can see how well detailed it is, the one thing that always thrown me off, though, are the eyes here. Just because I think they're a little too small, honestly. The eyes needed to be bigger. Case in point, you can see on the Playmates Gorosaurus, the eyes are much bigger, much more pronounced than the one on the Playmates one. So don't get me wrong, this is still a great figure, but I think that's kind of the one drawback that's a little bit off-putting to him. But nonetheless, though, I still think it's a great representation. And you can see this one's more solidly in the 6-inch range, so he just stands just a hair taller than the Playmates one. But both will size in pretty well with your, with your other 6 to 7-inch figures. I think so, anyway. So let's go ahead and take him out of the way. And lastly, let's go ahead and just kind of discuss pricing for this guy. Now, initially when he came out, I think he was, I want to say $12.99, I think was the initial retail price. So if you can get it at MSRP, I think it's an absolute steal because, again, this is, to me, a great figure. Out of all the Playmates figures that I've seen, this was the one that really stood out to me that I think they just knocked it out of the park with, and that's why I just really wanted to pick it up. Because I personally, from what I saw, I liked it better than the Bandai Movie Monster series version. But nonetheless, though, this one, though, is kind of getting on the rare side now. It is fairly hard to find from everything I've heard, and so you're kind of looking more towards the aftermarket now, which was essentially what I got having to pick it up at a convention. Aftermarket prices do vary a little bit. I've been mainly seeing them around the $40 range, you know, between $40 and $50 is what I've been seeing this figure go for. Again, that is kind of pricey, but you know, if you are in the market, it still is a great way to go, honestly. But it's just you just kind of have to bear that in mind. So, but nonetheless, though, if you can get a good deal on it, I highly recommend this figure. Like I said, I think Playmates did a great job on the 1968 Gorosaurus here. And with that, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this video, folks. Again, I do want to thank you so much for the 200 plus subscribers. And as far as this video goes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.